There we go. Wow, 2 whole minutes and nothing. So I was just playing around with this beat I started making at work yesterday with these chops here. So yeah, nothing really planned. I'm just chilling, working on some stuff in here, just whatever. Probably start a new project up real quick, and then just geek out with whoever wants to nerd out with me about gear and stuff that's coming. I did order, and we got sound now, right? I did order the Ableton Move. Nice. Nobody asked what's good. That's what's up. I ordered mine too. I got it straight off of Ableton. Should be here like next month, or not next month, next week. I think Monday. That's what it said. Hopefully that like updates and it comes in a little quicker because I'm a little impatient. But I'm okay. I found a new like kind of appreciation again for the SMPLTREK, so I've been working on that and staying busy and exploring that and all. So next Wednesday, huh? Yeah, I ordered mine what, like 2 nights ago. So did you get yours straight from Ableton? But yeah, I mean, I don't use Ableton at all. What about you? Nobody asked. I don't use Ableton at all, but it was appealing to me. And I guess one of the reasons why I look back at one of the samplers that I bought and had for a short while. I think I've actually purchased it twice, but I got the Novation. So Novation does a lot of stuff that's catered around Ableton, and they had the tracks, right, which was, you know, kind of I don't know how many pads, if it has 32 or 64. I think it has 32. But then they like a couple years ago, they came out with the circuit tracks and the circuit rhythm. I bought into the circuit rhythm because it was the sampler version, and I actually think that thing is really dope. It's super limited, but it's dope as far as the workflow goes, and I would say that it's probably the smoothest, funnest workflow that I ever mess with. And since Novation made those things kind of like, I think with the Ableton workflow in mind, I'm looking at the Move as if it's that, but even more powerful. So that's the appeal to me. Just the tactile stuff to it, like just the buttons, like you can move between tracks with a single button. Like every track has a dedicated button. And there's other machines that have that, right? I think maybe the Push has. I've never used the Push. Like the MKII Force, that was appealing to me, but I'm more into like portable stuff. So that's why this is appealing too, is because it's battery powered, rechargeable, it's small. Like I'm always taking one of my samplers with me to work. Yeah, that. And then, I mean, the bonuses of having like, I guess, a speaker and a mic, that's always really nice, because you can preview what you're doing without headphones. You can record stuff in without headphones. Like with the Sonicware SMPLTREK, I was messing with that, like doing some like vocal like hook ideas with it, with the built-in mic is nice. So yeah, that's a possibility, and I'll explore it a little bit more sometime next week, you know what I mean? But I'm excited about it. I'm not really too concerned about the limitations, because I don't really see the limitations as limitations. I'm looking at it differently, because I've used different machines and I've seen the different types of limitations, and just moving back and forth from different machines, it makes you perceive your other samplers in a different way, and kind of like helps you to like approach it differently. So I won't like really necessarily be approaching it with the idea that it's limited to 4 tracks, and even if it was, like a lot of my stuff is like really, the way I create is really basic, like drums, sample chop, bass line, vocals. That literally is 4 tracks right there. But I know there's more you can do with it if you look at it in a different way. Crazy Rabbit, what's good? Got it from Sweetwater. Nice. Ableton is great. I traded in my MPC Renaissance for the Push 2 back in the days. Okay, cool. Yeah, I had one of those as well back in the day. I'm happy with the state of music production now, though. Like what we can do is like, for professionals even, but like bedroom producers, like there's so many options. The standalone world is just great now. I'm glad it's back. I'm glad it never died, you know. I mean, it was on pause for a minute, then, you know, MKII, of course, leading the way again, is now forcing people to maybe I'm gonna pull this up, because someone said this in the comment section. Civil Days music comment section. I believe he's talking about the Move, and there was someone who made a comment, and so like the Sonic State, you know, Sonic State YouTube, and y'all could tell me what you think. I don't know. Let me type in Sonic State. They had a podcast where they were talking about the Move, and there's a guy in there who says he was playing around with another device. I'm just gonna play it. Sonic where now? Sonic State. Got my mixed up because I'm messing with the Sonic Ware piece right now. Sonic State. Let's go. Let's see. This here, this clip here. And so this guy is describing that he was messing around with the Move, I believe, and then he was messing around with another device, he says, by MKII. And you guys gotta look at how he describes it. Let's see if the audio's. It's weird that I gotta unplug and plug this back in.
Security features than
Let's see, I think it was like at, is this playing? I think it was at like 12.5 minutes. Let me get it queued up. Give me a second. Okay, so like right around here. Tell me if this just sounds like he's talking about an existing MPC
kind of territory, and, you know,
or something new.
Which is again a musical, but the fact
because the first time I watched this, it kind of went over my head. I just thought he was talking about an MPC. But
those are things that could really sort of endear it to a lot of people. I don't know, Yoad, I know this isn't really in your world,
so
but I mean, you must, when you're mixing or working on album projects, people have to kind of maybe asking, what am I going to do about playing it live, for instance, you know, and this just could be another thing that could possibly, you know, work.
Absolutely. I think that, you know, a couple of weeks ago when I was on the show, we talked about the MKII kind of thing, new thing. I don't remember what it's called. Which is kind of
I don't know.
A similar function.
You see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it could be nothing. I don't know. Maybe it was the dude I was going back and forth with. I didn't take note of what his name was over there on one of Civil Days music. Let me know when it comes back in. You guys can hear me? You guys can hear me? Everything good over here? You can see this still? So, let's see if I can rewind it again. I don't know, because he said we were on a show. So if he was on a show and it was something public, then I would think that he was talking about just like an MPC.
I know this isn't really in your world, but I mean, you must.
But he does.
Mixing or working.
The way he describes it, he kind of makes these hand motions that make it seem smaller than anything that exists. Maybe a one.
Instance, you know, and this just could be another thing that could possibly, you know, work.
Absolutely. I think that, you know, a couple of weeks ago when I was on the show, we talked about the MKII kind of thing, new thing. I don't remember what it's called.
So, I mean, this guy, I don't know who this guy is. Like, so I don't know if you guys have watched him on Sonic State or where he's, you know, but it sounds like he's referring to a show. And if it was a show, now I'm kind of thinking he must have just been talking about an MPC, because that wouldn't be public, right, if it was a new device. But then he's also kind of sounding like, I mean, this guy's in this space. I think he would know what an MPC is rather than be like, I don't remember what it's called. You know what I mean? So he could be talking about a one, and it's just not his kind of area of what he messes with. As you can see, I mean, he's got a studio with lots of gear. I would feel like you would possibly know, but I mean, I guess that exists, and even in this space, there's a tons of different kind of music production gear, and I'm not aware of half the stuff, you know. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what to think of that. But it would have just went over my head if it wasn't commented. So let's see if there's any more.
Which is kind of a similar function. And this one is much more appealing to me. It looks less fiddly. The fact that it integrates with Ableton, and you can take, so it's almost like a mobile. If you compare it to the Logic ecosystem, so it's almost like a mobile kind of GarageBand, or like an iPad GarageBand, which you can play on your lap and then import it to Logic and continue to work. So it is a kind of a professional.
I think that's all that he's really gonna state there about that. So it was just kind of a brief thing. Who really knows? It could have just been a mistranslation. Part of me hopes this is Ableton trying to get ahead of Akai's mini MPC that they may or may not exist. Do you think companies, like kind of secrets move in between companies? Like, would someone like an Ableton know what's going on over at Akai? I know they've worked together, so maybe they even help each other on projects. I don't know, because Akai made the push, the original push, from my understanding. And one thing I was also curious about, this is going to become more of a stream about Move than it is about making any music, probably. But I was looking at, I've never messed with, let me know if anyone has ever messed with, if you're into Ableton, like the MPC, I think it's called Ableton Control. There's a control option right on there that works through Wi-Fi. Like, I don't even know what kind of control it gives you. But then I had a thought that, and it's probably a stretch of my imagination, that like, would the MPC Live or any of the new MPCs that have that Ableton Control, which I think is all of them, have work in any integration with something like the Push 3 or the Move, like through Wi-Fi? Because the Move also has Wi-Fi and it can integrate with live software. So it probably isn't. It's not likely, but that's something. It's a question that I have and something to explore, even if it's like highly unlikely. Frisco Pisco, what's good? Move is like a 4-piece band, drums, bass, guitar, key, synth. I think it's cool. Focus on 4 tracks, better songs, grooves, and load into your DAW and finish for sure. I mean, that's one way to look at it. For sure. I mean, people did a lot with like 4-track tape recorders, you know, back in the day, like cassette recorders and stuff. So, I mean, you just leave it up to your imagination. There's more you can do with the Move, like resampling is possible on the Move. So just think about it that way. You could do for the drum rack. So I'm just starting to learn like the language of Ableton. So drum racks would be like MPC programs. I think they're a bit more limited because MPC's got like 8 banks. I think the drum racks are just 16 pads, which is still cool because you can have up to 4 of them. So if you think that way, you can do a lot more. And then with the resampling and all that, it's legit. Seems like he is talking about something new. I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on that, whether he was describing something that already exists. Yeah. Just because he made the statement that we were talking about it on the show. These NPCs haven't been new for a while. Mr. Spacely, what's good? Why do you wish you had today off? I mean, I probably feel like that every day, but you know, I would like to just sit in here and create most days. These companies always work together. Samsung and Sony parts are inside of iPhones, and all the 3 of them make smartphones. Okay, makes sense. Okay, SMPLTREK has so much more than Move. Hard pass for me. So Hi-Fi, you're on a SMPLTREK. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to like to find one piece that solely does everything that you wanted to do. Like I like the SMPLTREK because it is catered to songwriter, and being that it's super portable, it's not as much of a headache to carry around as an MPC. Yeah, and it has 10 tracks. It has 3 global tracks that are meant for audio. You can record vocals if that's what you're doing, and then like the different types of tracks. Like loop tracks are cool. I mean, you weigh it, you know, like the Move has its own synths and you know, while this has instrument programs, or not instrument tracks, which is cool, but they work off of one shot, so that's a little bit more limited. And then like there's a limitation to how long a sample can be on a pad. I couldn't put like a whole loop on one of these pads if I wanted to and like finger drum along, which is something I like doing. So I like the Move in that matter because it's although it has 32, if you just break it down to 16 like a drum rack, you're playing like an MPC or like an SP, and I can trigger loops or chops on the top and then finger drum along too. So I like that. So, and from what I heard, I haven't confirmed it, I just randomly heard someone say I think you can put up to 4 minutes of audio on each pad on the Move. So I'm not sure if that's accurate, but I imagine since I think it's all just kind of streaming, since it's just like a built-in SD. I'm not sure how that whole file management system works, but yeah, I'm looking into it. I'm trying to be a little bit more prepared for like Monday, because once Monday comes around, I'm probably gonna have to be Tuesday. I know I'm gonna want to just come in here, turn the camera on and turn the machine on and just figure it out and like probably fumble around. So I'm trying to educate myself a little bit. I would like to figure out drum racks and see if I can like save them and load them and stuff, because I've got some sounds that I want to get these sounds that I've been putting together in there as well. So Mr. Spacely, yeah, I got it. He's laughing. Yeah, people are hating on it, man. It's just kind of the norm though. People are hating on new stuff. I think it's actually going to be really great. I think it's more than what y'all are actually imagining. I seen something about, it seems like there's only drum racks, and I was a little bit confused because I was looking at, like I said, I'm trying to get prepared. I was looking at the manual and it said something about Simpler. So, and I believe Simpler is the chopping thing, and there's a lot of people confused, even in the Ableton videos where they're chopping, they're showing how to sample. People are like, no chopping, but you can chop. And it works like the MPC on an input. You can just chop on an input, which is actually adding to the workflow, like speeding it up. Because people are like, oh, can I chop something after? Can I record a loop in and then chop after? I mean, there is a way of doing it, and it's actually my preferred way of doing stuff. So I like the fact that it's tactile. Like, it's got a copy button. So you would do this. You just hold the copy button, press the pad, and then press it on the pad that you want to copy it to. Kind of like the MPC, but I feel like it's going to be smoother. I always feel like there's kind of a hiccup with the MPC and that copy button, because like if I don't time it right, then it doesn't register the pad for some reason. I don't know. I'm still like, can't figure that out. But yeah, kind of like the SP, copy, press pad, and there. But I think you just hold it. So I like that, and then you can do it probably as many. If you could do it multiple pads, that'd be great. And then you adjust the start point. And there you are. Your manual chopping, my actually preferred way. So if that's not your preferred way and you're looking for auto chop is cool, but I only barely started using that with like the SP and like with the MPC a little bit. It's not even my preferred way of chopping. I don't know. It's cool. So like, I mean, the SMPLTREK is cool. This has, so like if I go out here, I've chopped, it uses drum tracks too to chop your samples, just like the Move would. And this has auto chopping, or you can manually chop it and set your points. I do hope that the mute groups is kind of seamless with like with that, as this sets everything to a mute group automatically when you chop a sample. So that's cool. The SP doesn't still. That's pretty weird that it doesn't do that. You're cold? Okay, once you get under a blanket for now, I'll go turn that off in a second. So what was I thinking about? What was I talking about? If we're comparing stuff, I guess. like mute groups. And yeah, so it'd be nice if it like automatically sets up the mute groups, if, because I know because you can sample on the input and chop per pad. So the MPC does that, this does that. I mean, this is the appeal to me for this, is like just smooth creative workflow. Kind of one of the things that has bugged me about the MPC in the past, although it's getting better, I think, with MPC 3. Yeah, I don't know, let me read the comments here. You got it. Yes, if I use Ableton, I'd check it out. I'm an MPC guy and I use Logic if I'm using a DAW. For sure. That's used to be how I was. I'd use Logic too. Logic here, but I use Note sometimes. I might explore Note. I don't know, I might download the free Live possibly, but that's not why I'm getting it. There's an SD card inside. Yeah, that's what I've read. It's a built-in like 64 gig SD card. That's one thing I'm curious about, is like it has you can plug in USB devices, right? So audio interfaces, MIDI keyboards, but since it hasn't been mentioned, and I think the way that it relies off of Wi-Fi and the Ableton Cloud thing, which is I'm kind of hesitant to, although like I was always open to the idea of MPC, like Kai making some kind of system like that. But then when I hear like, oh, there's no SD card, that's kind of my biggest, let's say, concern with this, because that's what I'm used to, like transferring samples on SD cards or USB drives. So like I am wondering if you could put a USB stick in there, since it recognizes all other kinds of drives. If that doesn't exist, I guess that's like an intentional limitation. But some of the intentional limitations I kind of am an understanding. Like I think Ableton made a 4-track machine not because they're really trying to skimp on you and get the most out of your money, but I think they wanted to create a machine that actually challenges your creativity. You know, like the limitation breeds breeds creativity, or necessity is the mother of invention. So when you have that limitation, it helps you to think different. And I think maybe, so I'm looking at the bright side, giving them the benefit of doubt that they've done that not just for monetary reasons, because they got like the push over here, but because they're actually trying to create something special. So I hope it does become something special. You know, it could be like the modern day SP404. That's crazy to say because we got one of those, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I want to get into Koala, but I haven't had time to learn it yet. Yeah, Koala is cool. It's just not something I've ever really got super into, because I always get back to like tactile stuff. And yeah, you can get a controller, but I don't know, I'm just kind of stubborn with that. Sheesh Beats, what's up? Tier 4 videos have been a huge help. No doubt, I appreciate that, man. Glad to help. Chris Head said, oh boy, here we go again. Yeah, I'm not gonna fight it. The thing is with me is like, what I was saying like a month or two ago was I'm trying to narrow or like minimalize and just focus on songwriting, but I've realized I've got to just always shift with my situation. And my current situation is I just don't seem to have a quiet house that I can record vocals in. Like I'm not trying to get perfect vocals, but I would prefer there not to be certain like lots of sounds in the background. So I'm gonna focus on writing them and then taking advantage of the opportunities too, and I will pull out my MPC for that at least. But I don't know, man, it's not really, I don't think it's the time I've always been a gearhead, and I've been through so many pieces of gear. Like I randomly come across photos, and they're like photos of me in my home studios, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I had that. Oh yeah, I used to have that. So I don't know if it's a good season for me to be giving up and minimalizing, because who knows what's coming. A lot of more stuff is coming, it seems to be, and cool stuff is coming. Haterade or Creatorade, choose wisely. I like that. Creatorade, that's what's up. Like the stream, y'all, appreciate that. Still tripping, what's good? Not much a fan of the Ableton Move's lack of features. 8 clips per track, 4 tracks, that's it. Man, in the MPC, if there was another machine that had like audio tracks, then I would probably switch over. There's nothing that matches that standalone. So of course I'm looking for the best standalone, which is the MPC overall. But like it's overkill. There's like, how many tracks are the MPC? I literally use probably 8 at the most. So and how many so clips are like clips or scenes are kind of like sequences and stuff, right? And I probably use what, like 4 or 5 of those, and I'm good. I'm happy. That's enough for me to express myself. Write a song idea and then like write some verses and lyrics around that song idea. And I bet you I'm definitely gonna try to see what I can put together in the Move and like even play around with recording, because if I can do it in the SP, I've come up with some ideas and recorded lyrics in there, and it's not perfect, of course. It's much easier if you use an MPC or a computer. But I'm definitely gonna try. If I can put 4 minutes of audio per pad, then I definitely can. If that's an accurate number, I definitely can. It's possible to do. So I think I'm gonna just be more like focused on writing and like performance, and maybe I'll just do like perform some of my songs on videos and stuff, and go back to doing like the rhythm and poetry thing that I was doing. We'll see. Whichever way the wind takes me. Let's see. My mic is pretty hot. Yeah. Apologies. Backups is only Wi-Fi and tethered to Ableton Live. That's how they want it. You mean as far as like the whole projects, or what are called sets, I believe? Note comes with free Ableton Lite with 8 tracks, MIDI and audio combination. It's maybe more to separate the push 3 from the Move. Note and is that SMPLTREK? Look like SMPLTREK combo is fire. As a sketchpad, a really basic one. It's for Ableton people, not me. Okay, fair. That's fine. I also use a sampler, and a 4x4 16 pad layout where I can finger drum, and I see chopping, basic chopping, the way that I like to chop. I see a waveform too, and I see those waveforms triggering as you play. That's cool. I like that. I like to see that visual feedback too. I see built-in sounds that will seem to load this up very quickly, navigating through different sounds, exploring and experimenting with those things. I don't know, man. I see something portable that I could take to work with me, which is how I get most of my ideas actually started. Or I spend more time at work throughout the week than I do sitting right here. Maybe if I can get like 2 streams in a week, that's like a couple hours. Every day at work, I'll pull out one of my machines, MPC, and do something, at least attempt to. And so that's why the portable thing is important to me. That's the great thing about opinions. Everybody has one. If you got the money for it and it inspires you to create, who cares? And that's too, like, I hesitated. Like, I'm like, I don't know if I'll like this. I'm not sure what it is exactly, if I'm gonna like really vibe with it. But then again, there's a 30-day. That's why I bought it at Ableton. There's a 30-day return policy, and they'll pay for the shipping back. So if it isn't for me, like, really no questions asked. I think 30 days is enough to really figure out for me if this is, I think I'll know pretty immediately if the workflow is something that I enjoy. There might be just one thing that really kills it for me. Maybe it's the storage and the way you have to use that. No, after you've moved 8 free sets, you are required to subscribe to Ableton Cloud, just so you know. Oh, okay. I wonder how many sets you can put in the Move before you would have to back them up. All right, in McDonald's on my KO2. So now, know what you're after. I found my jam. That's what's up. SimCity, what's good? Antonio Ortiz, man, what's happening? I've had the Novation Circuit, Poly and Play, and MPC 1 Plus. The Ableton Move has more features than the Circuit and Play, and at the same price looks good for beginners and as a second unit for beats. Yeah, I've heard people say it's not a good price. I think it's a decent price for what it is. I think it's set at the right spot. Like if you're comparing it to like the SP, the 404, which is $499, and you suggest that like only 4 tracks it's $449. Well, think about this. The SP has 1 track. You could consider it no tracks, but you can consider it 1 track. It has 1 track for $499, and people rock that. People still mess with that pretty heavy. As long as you can figure out the sequencer without getting frustrated and you keep going, yeah. That's why I'm looking at it a little bit differently. I just got a 1 Plus for the purpose of getting ideas out while I work. One Plus is like twice the cost, so it's kind of hard to compare that, right? Or is it $699? It's $699, so it's almost double the cost. Almost. All right, what time are we at? 11:46. I'm probably gonna soon. I don't know how much music we're doing. This kind of reminds me of like some Little Brother or something. Instrument track. See if I can figure out what key this is in. Yeah, and this is another thing. Like this, if we're comparing SMPLTREK to that, this has scale modes, but it doesn't have chords. And I believe the Move has scales, chords, and just the fact that's one thing I've actually been looking into for a while is like some kind of pad controller, because I've actually been enjoying playing chords with pads and coming up with melodies with the pads since I've been messing with the SP. I really like the SP44's limited scale mode because it's cool. That's what got me into actually, instead of using like the chord triggers, using the scales and building them, because you can do like your own. You can play the chords to make them sound a little bit more natural, like they're strumming, you know, because you have the individual control of the notes that way. So, but it is kind of limited when you have 16 pads, like on the SP or like on the MPC. So that's why I was like kind of for a few months looking into like controllers, or even something like the Novation Launchpad that has more pads and a scale mode, and then this comes around and it has 32, so that's going to be dope. And they've, I guess it's new to Ableton, is they've added like an MPC 16 level type of thing, or even more than that. It'd be because you got 32, so if you go on a drum rack and then turn like the notes mode on for any sound, and you can play it in 32 notes and set the scale and all that. So I believe that works all across all the types of tracks, so that's pretty cool. Alright, let me see. I want to load up one of my own samples. Stole these sounds. And I'm probably about to wrap this up here in a second. I'll load one of these so I can have access to mine. don't think I'm in the right key. Where you perfect pitch heads over at? Where you at? Someone tell me what key this is in just by hearing it. Jamie Rice, what up? You'll get the most out of the move by resampling phrases, vocals, and throwing them. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just notice the title of the live stream. Have fun with the move. Sure, I appreciate it. If you have a 4-track Porter Studio mentality from the 80s, you'll get the most out of it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not that I really even mess with those, but yeah, I'm just looking at it different from like an SP 404 perspective. One synth patch per track when you're using a synth track, I believe. So resampling a synth track and firing that off a drum pad, exactly where my head's at already. 16 max drum pads. Yeah, but then you could, I mean, you could use up to like what, 64 if you just creep on resampling. Technically, well, I don't know. You'd always have to have like a, if you're gonna resample like one of the synths or whatever, you'd have to have a synth track up before you do that. If it was 8 tracks or 16, 32 clips per track. One thing I was thinking is though, I know everyone says don't ever buy something for what it could be. I really think it would be possible for them to upgrade it to 8 tracks, like just by upgrading the software. You know, it was not limited to the hardware itself. I bet you they could do that if they wanted to. Like just pressing the shift button and then the colors change on the tracks and you have 4 more and it makes 8. Right? But either way, I don't really care. I just want to try it out. Yeah. I'll try to make the most of it. We'll see, you know. 4 tracks is all they had back in the day. Just got to resample stuff down and commit. Yeah, and that's a big, I think that's a big deal for me always, like learning how to do things and commit. That force you to, like when I first got my MPC Live, I also had like a keyboard, and I would, instead of trying to MIDI it up like I would in the past, because I came in learning about MIDI and MIDIing stuff. Like my first piece of gear was a rack emo sound module. I MIDI'd it to Cakewalk, and I would do the 16 tracks that it had and just make beats that way. So I came in with that mentality, and I go around some people, like I knew some beat makers around the way, and knew one of them who he didn't really do any of that. So I think that probably inspired me to try it. And so I would just like record my external keyboard into like the looper in the MPC, and then just build beats on the pads and like finger drum around those sounds. Hey Luke, what's good, man? Thanks for dropping in, bro. Good talking with you. You know, I hope you get your setup nice and where you want it to be at, man. I'm gonna love it. I appreciate that. That's cool, man. It's got me excited. Be jamming. What's up? Buck 88 Keys. What's up, man? You off your break yet? Or does this not count as social media break? But what's good? Thanks for coming in. I'm probably about to drop out here because I got something to go to. Let's see what time we got. Appreciate it. Yeah, if y'all could hit the like button, that would be nice. If you've never been on the channel, I don't know, you know, and you're watching this and are interested in the move, you know, I will be talking about it soon and trying it out. Save what I have so far. Let's clean this up a little bit. Or maybe it's clashing because there's somewhat of a bass in the sample. Part to do with it. Everyone comments on that bass sound. I always use the same one, man. I love that bass. So it's actually whatever machine I'm on, I always use that patch. It's actually originally from a Yamaha motif. It's like a motif sound. I'm gonna talk about Raspberry Pi. Oh, this don't count. You're still on your break. Yeah, I appreciate that. Move runs on Raspberry. Is that what you're saying? It's got 2 gigs of RAM. Oh, okay. Been looking into it. Has your mind changed at all? Who's Move sequencer? I'm not sure what that means. It's definitely upgradable. Huh. Okay. I'll wait for Cranberry PI before making a move. Cranberry. Sweet potato pie. My social media vacation is for me not to upload to YouTube, release music on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram. If I drop any music, it's got to be on DistroKid. Basically, me being focused offline. There you go. It's good to have intent and have a plan, bro. Good for you. You know, so I hope that works out well for you. Your sample pack, use it all the time. Def worth the money. I appreciate it. Yeah, sample pack, link in the description. But yeah, I've got a new one coming. It's just gonna be a drum kit, a drum pack, and that'll be soon. I appreciate that, man. Enjoy your vacation, man. Yeah, that's okay. Good thing you brought up time stretch. I've never really been someone who uses time stretch too much, but I know that like that's one of the like probably the best things, like the type of warping and time stretch that like the Push does or like Ableton does. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. But one thing I am concerned about that would be nice is if they at least had some kind of like beat matching thing. You know, like the SP has a beat matching, the MPC has beat matching. Even like the Sonicware Low 512 XT has a really good beat matching. I think it's probably one of the best. So at least in a rhythmic way, be able to like, you know, get your non-melodic stuff to easily match up with your melodic stuff. That's a very useful tool. A lot of people, if you're into like boom bap, that's basically your workflow, just like messing with breaks, you know, and matching them up to your chops. And so you want that because it's okay. You don't really necessarily need time stretch if you don't mind the, you know, the sound, I guess the character of your drum loops kind of switching up by pitching them. So I haven't seen anything about that on the Move. Not really a deal breaker. I was looking through the SMPLTREK. I don't think the SMPLTREK has a beat match like the Low 512 XT. And I mean, that is really good if you guys want like something that beat matches. But this does have time stretching, and but it's not like real time. It's like, you know, like you can load something up and decide to time stretch it to fit whatever it is you're doing. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Ableton has the best warp and time stretch. So I mean, I would like to experience. I think that's probably one of the main reasons I jumped on this is because I had been looking at the Push for a minute, the Push 3, and just just decided never to really grab it. And this is kind of something similar in a way, to kind of get a taste of that. Yeah, max 4 minutes per sample is really good. The speaker on the Move is basic, not as good as the TE stuff. I haven't really used the TE stuff to know. I mean, I did have an OP one, the OG one, like years ago, but I don't quite remember. We need a money stretch, right? Yeah, money don't stretch right. Nah, you'd be good. Just think different. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up right here. I know not a lot of beat making, but I got on, did what I wanted to. Mostly probably just obsess about new gear. So yeah, thanks y'all for kicking it with me. And I'll probably see you, if not this weekend, probably next week, sometime mid next week. I'm probably getting the Move on Monday, but it'll probably be too late in the day for me to actually stream because I had to work. Do like a night shift, but at least I'll take it with me to work and figure out a few things before I come on. So at least it'd be a little bit better for y'all watching than me stumbling around something. So yeah, looking forward to that. Jamie Reichers is coming today. Cool, yeah. Compare them speakers. The speaker's just kind of a bonus for me. I like the idea of at least having a mic. Especially now, like for my voice, or like sketching ideas as far as like hooks go. There is some kind of stretch on the pads in Ableton Move. I just tried it, but it's more of an effect than a smooth warp type stretch. Okay. For sure. Luke, nice seeing you, man. Thanks for coming by. Enjoy your day as well. OSR The Journey, you just popped in at the very end, man. But yeah, I'm waiting on the Move, bro. I don't think you had a very positive opinion about it, but yeah, I kind of went back and forth. But no, man, it looks exciting to me. So I'll see y'all with it next week. You can power it via USB battery bank, so 3-hour limit is not a big problem. And that's cool. Like, they only gave you like the 1/8" inputs and stuff, but then they also have USB audio interface support. So that kind of expands it there for you quite a bit. So I am curious to see if there's certain things that they didn't really cover to explore, as far as that. Because it looks like a kind of simple machine, right, on the surface, but it's got Wi-Fi built into it. And I heard ARM, it's got an ARM chip in it. And, like, I'm not super, like, knowledgeable about, like, that tech stuff when it comes to, like, computers like that. But isn't that, like, newer tech? It's even newer than, like, the Push 3. Yeah, but alright, that's it. Appreciate you. Alright, God bless. Keep on rolling with your dreams, everyone. Yeah, I'll make some hip-hop for sure. Hip-hop, boom bap.